It is the Crown Jewel post show. I am Jeff Marr alongside the Trendsetter Bryan, and we are here live on the Give a Shot Network. Again, the Jersey Wrecking crew here, HSP on the Give a Shot Network. Make sure you like and subscribe, and make sure after this show is over, you can check us out back here on YouTube, download it, and also too, if you can't watch us, make sure you download the podcast on all podcast platforms. So make sure if you can't watch, listen to HSP on all podcast platforms. It is the aftermath of Crown Jewel, an enjoyable PLE for the WWE in Australia. Got to wake up early in the morning to see this one, but we did. Trendsetter, how you doing, man? Crown Jewel is over, and what are your thoughts?
Listen, man, I'm always critical of these things, thinking, yeah, no, it's not going to live up to the hype. And listen, we've seen certain ones where just like, oh, what was that? I mean, I've seen better Raws and SmackDowns than this before, but this one, for all intents and purposes, Jeff, lived up to the billing. There were some critiques, even from you and me, to a certain degree, like, oh, it's only 5 matches on this card. How's that going to carry a show? It did. If we don't include commercials, obviously, on the ESPN app, it lived up to the billing, I think, really. And some of the matches we anticipate. Listen, I'm not going to say any match really was a stinker here, but when you look at the matches we were looking forward to, anticipated, the one thing you wanted to walk away for, Jeff, as a fan, is you wanted to say, you know what? It lived up to the hype. Not expectations, because expectations can be very disappointing for people, but it lives up to the hype, and I think this card did it.
I really did. I think that you can't really give this a below a B, even if you're angry or you did not like the build to it, whatever. The matches, I think, clearly hit the spot, and especially in AJ Styles and John Cena matches we'll get to. So, like you said, 5 matches. Again, a lot of people, that's one thing that will be one of the complaints about these PLEs, but the commercial time. And I mean, they're spaced out well. And when you first realize, hey, we give these matches like 20, 25 minutes, but that's not the case. Some of these matches don't even go now 15. This is really well done from beginning to end. And Australia, again, proved why they're worthy for having a PLE. And the final international appearance for John Cena in his in-ring career, too. So that's something we'll get to. But, yeah, I really thought it delivered. Sometimes these PLEs are just one that you kind of skim through and go over. And after WrestlePalooza, right, Trendsetter, it was kind of like a sour taste in people's mouths, and people just did not seem like they were satisfied with the outcomes. This one kind of comes here and kind of makes us forget about WrestlePalooza and kind of finally put that in the back burner. And a lot of things also, too, that we'll talk about, discuss, that happened on SmackDown, some changes that obviously the Triple H and creative kind of maybe took the criticisms to heart and actually did something. So we'll talk about that as well. But let's open up, guys. First of all, make sure you join the chat. If you want to come here and chat with us, let us know. And again, you can also catch the replay of this one immediately after our live is over, so you're not missing one thing. But we love to have you here in the morning. And for all of those that woke up today on a Saturday morning, God bless you. But it opened up with Roman Reigns taking on Bronson Reed, the tribal chief versus the tribal thief. And I think a lot of people speculate that, and I'll get to this too, because I've got a few things to say about this one. But Bronson Reed in Australia missed last year's event because of injury and is able to be in his home country. And he delivered, man. I mean, this is a guy that obviously was released and then was brought back by Triple H. Obviously, the rivalry with Braun Strowman kind of brought him back up, elevated him to this kind of stature where this guy should be taken seriously. Then he gets put in the Vision, has a couple good matches with Roman Reigns, and now is rewarded for this one. And I don't see anything wrong with Roman Reigns. Doesn't lose anything. Roman Reigns is on this different level now. He's like on this aura. I think that it doesn't hurt him because he's building someone up. Depends on what happens now with Bronson Reed later on, but this match doesn't hurt Roman. And at the end of the day, I think the right guy won.
Yeah, for anybody who's a huge Roman Reigns fan and wants to feel as if, oh, listen, I want the Roman Reigns of the head of the bloodline and things like that. I don't think we're going to really see that, though, because a lot of it depends on Roman Reigns' schedule now and Roman Reigns' availability. He's got other avenues now where he has to make commitments. So I think at this stage, and I'm not saying this to make Roman Reigns sound old or he's 1 foot at the door theoretically, but kind of allows him to help other individuals kind of get to that level because, let's be honest, in terms of the run that Roman Reigns had for what an impressive run it was, I don't know if you can really duplicate that. And at that point, everything was built on building up Roman. Now it's only appropriate that you're building up other superstars. So yeah, you're right. I think the right man won. Right now, it's a huge. We've talked about it before, Jeff. Remember when the Roman had lost the title at WrestleMania 40, and you saw this other side of Roman now, this vulnerability. He was no longer the tribal chief, although he does call himself the OTC. It's more of this now kind of confused, kind of like lost his way in a sense that things that came easy aren't easy anymore. It's not guaranteed that he's going to win the match. It's not guaranteed that he's just so good now that there are other people leveling up to him. So I think the right guy won. And obviously, for Bronson being in his home country in Australia, missing it last year, great homecoming for him, great reception. Yeah, I think the right man won because the long-term wise, guys like Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker, they're your future and you want to build up to it. So I understood why they did that.
So Bronson's the heel, so is the Vision, and you had all this stuff going on the outside. You had Jimmy and Jey Uso come into the ring after Bronson Reed was being helped out by Braun Breaker. Braun Breaker delivers a spear to Roman. Then all that stuff goes on the outside. Braun with the spear to Jimmy Uso. Then Jimmy Uso is out of it. Then you got Jey Uso who's trying to help out Roman, accidentally spears Roman into the table. Then Bronson Reed with the tsunami beats Roman Reigns. Basically, it doesn't hurt Roman Reigns because all this outside interference is the reason why Bronson Reed won, which obviously he's the heel, so it doesn't hurt him in that. But he gets a pinfall. I think they said something about only the second guy to pin Roman Reigns in like a gazillion years. So, I mean, that's a great thing to have on your resume. And they're really pushing how, like, this guy, anytime he wants on the post show, could challenge for a world championship because that's how much elevated now Bronson Reed is. So, hey, that checks off the big mark, right, on Bronson. Want to see how they get Braun Breaker now involved because this is the guy. This is, to me, the guy, the future, the guy that's going to main event WrestleMania for 10 straight years like Roman will do, has done. So, you're wondering how they're going to do it with Braun, but what's interesting to me is that this idea, Trendsetter, and I don't know when it started, but again, the IWC loves to poke at stuff, and this thing where Triple H hates Roman Reigns or despises Roman Reigns in favor of Cody Rhodes, that he's a QB1. And I noticed this earlier in the week during media where Roman Reigns was on the Pat McAfee show and he talked about, coming off of the Street Fighter, he was filming that and then having to go being a little sore, not feeling too good. The body, mind you, this man is, deals with leukemia and the after effects and stuff like that, even though he's cured, he takes medication, right? And he mentioned that he was a little bit sore with this flight and everything like that. But then, he kiboshed. He says, no, I'm good. I'm good. And then Triple H posts repost something that Cody Rhodes working at a gym, talking about he went from Dubai to this, now doing ESPN Media, Make-A-Wish, then going to Perth. And to me, I didn't see anything as a shot at Roman Reigns whatsoever, and not at all. Listen, now, do you have people that you're pushing? Yeah, because he's a current champion right now. But I don't see any disdain or dislike that Triple H in the booking plans that he has for Roman Reigns whatsoever. I think it's something that's being made up, and I'm like, are you out of your mind? Where is this coming from? And the fact that a guy like you were mentioning, Trendsetter, who is pushing it forward, playing it forward, this booking of Roman Reigns, listen, he will get that championship eventually. This is what it's building to. That's what the storyline here, which I'm glad now you're getting kind of that Bloodline storyline again. Hopefully we're in that zone where this is going to happen. But like this imaginary thing, and again, once he lost, the post saying, "My God, Triple H hates Roman Reigns. Look at the booking Triple L for doing this to Roman Reigns." My God, like, what are you guys seeing that I'm not seeing? Because Trendsetter, I do not believe in a million years that Roman Reigns, the guy who built all this, let's be honest, the guy who all this stuff, I love Cody, I love you to death, but all this, all the PLEs, all this stuff with TK, all this has been on the back of Roman Reigns. Why would Triple H have this disdain or this dislike or this favoritism of Cody over Roman Reigns? I don't see it, Trendsetter. I think it's so overblown and it's ridiculous. What are your thoughts? Because I don't see this at all, of this disdain that Triple H has for Roman Reigns.
Well, the quick answer to that is I don't see anything that shows the fact that Triple H hates Roman Reigns or is doing this in terms of damaging Roman or booking him in a way that's damaging to his career or in this case his legacy. Not at all. Roman Reigns has built a legacy now where you hate to say this, because sometimes people take advantage of it, but like no matter if you had him lose every single match from this point on to the end of his career, his legacy would still be cemented. Not that's going to happen, but it would still be cemented as one of the greatest runs and one Hall of Fame career, if you want to call it that. Because
Well, it is.
I don't think he's done right now. But no, but I'm saying I'm not going to call Hall of Fame right now just because I don't think he's done officially yet anytime soon. Maybe a little bit less than a normal full-time schedule. But regardless of that, I don't see any of that. Listen, when you look at scenarios where the old regime with Vince McMahon, you could definitely tell Roman was his guy. Cena was his guy. And what did you see time and time again? Cena winning, Roman winning, them being put in positions where they were the faces of the company and things were more favored to them, right? But you're right, too, to the point where I was just saying, like, how could a guy like Triple H hate Roman when if not for Roman and him putting the company on his shoulders, on his back, whatever analogy you want to use here, the TKO deal doesn't happen. Sorry, TKO deal. I need to speak English this early this morning. That deal doesn't happen. What's going on right now at the PLEs and the stream, I don't think that happens. I don't think where the WWE is right now does not occur, and I'll give him his flowers. If it wasn't for this whole Roman Reigns situation, as much as everybody was against it, ended up at the end loving it so much that, even Roman said too during his lengthy title reign that as soon as I'm gone, you're going to want me back. And we saw the chance of we want Roman. And here you go. This is what we're getting at right now with Roman, not the original tribal chief in the sense of the aura that he had, but a newer version of Roman that people have to get used to. And to just make my second point here is the fact that, Triple H is a Cody fan, and Triple H is going to lean more towards Cody because that's his guy. That, when you see a coach come over and take over a new team that already has an existing player, but they're like, you know what, we appreciate what you've done. It's not like I'm keep giving you the boot, but that's my guy. That's the guy I drafted. That's the guy I picked, and I want that guy to be the face of my company. I think that's what Triple H is doing right now. That's how much he sees in Cody as being his QB1, and he's going to ride that. So I can't fault him on that too, because that's who he favors more. Not that he doesn't like Roman, but he favors Cody more in the situation. So that's why we're getting this dynamic. But at no sense do I have this feeling or proof through social media posts that can be so easily manipulated that Triple H has it out for Roman or has this dislike for him. You couldn't do that. And I'd be hard pressed to find out a reason besides a post of how you want to interpret it on social media that Roman and Triple H have heat with each other. I don't see it.
Yeah, and I mentioned before, like it just makes no sense. Like, why would that happen? You're talking about Roman
It's
Reigns having
clickbait, Jeff.
Roman Reigns. I go, but they're just trying to stir it up and anger people. And again, I don't see it. You're talking about Roman Reigns and his Hall of Fame career. I'm going to call it right now. Yeah, he's winding it down as far as like matches and stuff like that and dates and stuff. But it's already been Hall of Fame career after WrestleMania after he lost to Cody. But again, like you're right about there being maybe a preference to Cody because he is maybe the guy right now. But I just see it because he's the champion. If Roman Reigns was the champion, I would see it. I would say, hey, he's the guy. He's going to be QB1, and I think Cody did a good job on SmackDown, kind of explaining, hey, listen, I could be QB1 right now. Or if I'm not doing my job, someone else could be a QB1, and I think that's what people right now are just aiming at stuff and looking at this thing, and maybe it does it for the better because they'll get people riled up when the eventuality that you get Cody and Roman face to face again, because I do believe that will happen down the road. It has to, in my
It has
opinion.
to happen. It has
Right?
to happen.
So I think that'll draw the ire of people that are Cody and Roman Reigns fans, but I think it's just getting way too early, and thinking that Triple H just has this disdain is just BS. Because that's what I'm going to say. The way that you're saying it's not preferential. Because if you say preference, fine. But to say that this is not like and is purposely booking Roman in the way he is, I mean, that just to me it just does not make sense whatsoever. But back to the match though, Roman and Jimmy and Jay, it's not working out. It's obviously you mentioned as well that Roman kind of has this rep where he's thinking that these people don't think that I'm doing it on my own, and he kind of wants to be alone. Yeah, he's giving advice to Jay and to Jay mostly that it's about you, that it has to be about you. And I think it's the Roman era where he wants to do it by himself. It's kind of weird, right? You want to see the blind get back together, But Roman is not looking for that right now, which is kind of weird because they've been interacting with each other for a bit now. The last times that Roman's been back, so it's going to be an interesting dynamic. But I'm glad though that we have to talk about this because the era of no bloodline talk and what happened on SmackDown with the MFTs getting back together, it's kind of not that they should rely on it, but it's good to have it back because there are lot of untold stories too that we can still do with the bloodline.
Yeah, listen, if there's going to be interaction between the bloodline anymore, Jeff, it's going to be after Christmas because Roman doesn't want to see Sue until after that.
You know, I would have said I don't want. I thought you would say to me, I don't want to see you till Christmas. I thought that would happen first before Roman would say that to this, and we're only in October, so I really thought you'd probably say that to me like around September. But maybe I'm doing a good thing. Maybe I'm not getting on your nerves as much as I used to.
Maybe it's early in the morning, probably for me. You know, I'm so used to it right now, I've become numb to it. But no, I think what you're saying is that I see the point to it, but for me, what I see is that it's Roman right now in the scenario. Like again, we haven't seen this version of Roman now where it's now just nothing's working. He's kind of like scrambling to get some resemblance of what he once was from a character standpoint, and now creating a monster within himself. Because let's be honest, Jeff, this whole scenario with Jay and the popularity that's built up for Jay, where now he's doing the yeet and the crowd's behind him, and they just believe in him to be that moniker, which calls himself main event Jey Uso, right? It all started during the pandemic because at that point Jimmy was injured. You had that battle between Roman and Jay, and then Jay finally submitting to the bloodline and calling him his tribal chief. This was a long-term story built to the point where even Roman said it too, that I could be misconstruing the storyline real quick, but the fact that you're the next tribal chief in a sense. And now putting that in Jay's mind, and let's be honest too, when you look at Jay, I'll be the one to say it, you might not agree with it, but I think they wanted to strap that racket on him. He won the Intercontinental title, finally won his first individual title against Gunther, lost it again, then beat Gunther for the world title at WrestleMania. And I just think at that point, he just wasn't ready. As much as people want to say, oh, he had the popularity and people behind him, maybe just mentally you just weren't ready to be the face of the company, be that champion.
Yeah.
Taking it back. So now we're getting another version. Now we're getting the side of Jay right now, which is he doesn't trust anybody. And Roman's been putting that seed in his head in terms of it's about you. It's about you. It's all going to be about you. So now we're seeing that turmoil within the bloodline. Really cool dynamic there too. And it's a monster that Roman has built. And I feel down the line he's going to have to answer for, which will be great for another great match.
Can I ask you a question? Do you think now, with everything that you found out about Jey Uso and then how he's not the champion anymore, do you think it was more of, again, like they were going to go with CM Punk was going to be the original guy, right? That they wanted, and then they were like, "Oh, let's change it up, let's do whatever," and they decided to put the Rocket on Jay. Do you think that was something more that was done for the Netflix show Unreal? Do you think that now looking back on it, I can't speak English. Do you think looking back on it, it was done for that show more than Jay was deserving of it? Obviously deserved it, but
hard to tell though, right? It's hard to tell what they presented on the show that was actually real. It was just scripted. We were all being played. Was it a work? I'm not sure.
Again, it's interesting though, right? Like, but
it's
if you were to say that, yeah, no, and we'll not be like some of our politicians here. We're going to give you yes or no. What do you think? Yes or no? You think it was kind of, hey, we got the show Unreal. Let's start it off. If we're doing a WrestleMania segment to this, let's do it with a Jey Uso thing, and that's why the push was made, because again, they show you what you want to see.
Of course, I'll answer the question. I say yes, but only because of the popularity he had gained. If he didn't get the popularity, the crowd was just eating, then it would have been part of that show. So yeah, no, I think it was part of it because it's a great storyline and scenario of showing what they do or what they supposedly do when the crowd's behind a certain superstar or wrestler, whatever you want to call it. I think that's the message they wanted to send. So yes, I do think it was just part of the show for Unreal, the documentary, so that they could show this is what we do. We veered in another direction, although it was pre-planned, and now we're going to put it on Jimmy. But as we saw, once the Rock was put on Jimmy, it didn't. Jay. They look so much alike, Jeff. I'm sorry. I'm joking. When you put the Rocket on Jay, it just wasn't what they expected, or nor do I think it was what Jay expected either. And how could he expect it too? Because this was the first time he's being put in this situation. So I don't think you and I or a lot of people watching this stream or just anybody in general will understand the feeling that it is to be put as the guy and to think you're ready for it or to think you can handle it and realize that you can't at this moment. Not saying that he can't do it, but at that point, in that moment, in my mind, it was considered a failure.
So listen, we're talking about Roman anyways. We're talking about the whole Bloodline angle. I think that's good. So I get us talking because I think this loss again doesn't hurt it, and it adds to the dynamic. It's part of the story. And again, these people that are just bitching and complaining about, oh, you lost. How are you doing this? It's part of a story, man, and that's why I think now all of a sudden we were missing that story part, and now we're actually talking about stories. We're actually breaking down the stories and not bad ratings, not TKO and their money grubbing ways. And we're not talking about gymnastics. We're not talking about, again, expensive premium live events, the hours, the time zone. We're talking about storylines, which I think is refreshing for us. And that's what we're talking about this one. And I think this is the match that sets up all these storylines that you're seeing. And I think the last week or so, even though I think Raw is still show, it did really start to develop storylines and branch out in a lot of different directions. And listen, it just shows because we're talking about Roman's storyline instead of this match right here.
Yeah, listen, in terms of branching out and kind of giving us things that we're not expecting, which is always a great thing as a wrestling fan, right? And we had a comment from Hugh Cottonmouth King, who said, I still can't believe they name dropped the Bullet Club. Even AJ was taken aback by it. It's a nice surprise. It is because it's things we're not expecting. And I'm not saying that it always has to be that way, but sometimes to make it not predictable. Like you and I had discussions about this too. And I said to you, they were building it up towards, possibly Roman losing or the main event would happen. We'll talk about that in a few. But it's nice that it's not predictable. It's nice that the fact that sometimes you'll get these little things like the homages that John Cena did, and we'll talk about that in a few. It was great, and that's what you want as a fan. Not only just intriguing and compelling storylines like you're saying, Jeff, but the ability to be surprised every now and then is a great thing. It's the reason why we watch it as fans.
Perfect example with the Bullet Club reference too, and also the Walls of Jericho reference, which is
sweet, baby.
In the AJ Styles and Cena match, which a lot of people are going to start talking. So they tell you, they'll give you stuff that they want to give you. So again, that's a great question for you guys, the IWC, the HSP universe, the crew. Do you guys think that Jey Uso, the push had a lot to do with the Unreal on Netflix? And because honestly, though, I would have loved to see CM Punk in that spot, but Jey Uso, again, if it was not for the yeet and the reaction, I don't think he'd be in the spot too. So he did deserve it, but I gotta question whether that Unreal on Netflix kind of pushed a little bit more to the accelerator towards Mania because it was just it kind of starts to put the pieces together now. But
fair to say that.
Again, what we're thinking about though right now is this whole Bloodline storyline and what happens now. With War Games coming up and it's looming, how are they going to get this together to take on the Vision? Because that seems like that's the direction it's going to. But how are they going to turn all this around, though, by Survivor Series? So that's going to be interesting. And again, it's good to talk about the Bloodline once again. Whether they get together or not, we'll see. But right now, Roman wants to go solo. Jey Uso walks out on Jimmy saying, hey, Roman's going to be Roman. Obviously, Roman, again, saying the whole world thinks I can't do this shit on my own. And I'm glad they got the word. I'm glad they got the curse in there, too, ESPN. They got that in there, too, because it showed the emphasis of how Roman feels. Sometimes curses are good. Not like, not just throwing them out there for anything, but because that's how he feels. It's that heat of the moment, too. He goes, no, I love y'all, but I don't want to see y'all. You know what I mean? So
one could also say, Roman, how ungrateful are you, man? Honestly, for guys that you expected to be there and have your back at all times, trying to have your back. But the thing is, maybe he's being ungrateful. You know why? Because the result didn't end up the way he wanted it to be. So maybe sour grapes, whatever. So as much as people want to claim, or like you're saying right now, maybe it's Roman just wants to do it on his own. Well, when he was the tribal chief, when he was this dominant force, he didn't do it on his own. He could claim that he did it, but he had help of his Usos. He had helps of the Usos to help him to win those matches, to retain that title. So it's very contradictory in terms of Roman. I think right now, hopefully, maybe during Christmas, he'll calm down. He'll put his little follow back on and feel a bit better about it. But at this point right now, we have a Roman Reigns right now who is in self-doubt of himself, which is an interesting dynamic to have. And you have a guy like Jey, who is about to explode any second now. And you have a guy like Jimmy, who's unfortunately the guy in the middle, who just doesn't fit anywhere right now within these two personalities of Jay, the monster that Roman created.
Also, too, though, and again, I love talking about story. Don't you think, too, kind of Roman's at fault too? Because even though he said he doesn't want, he's like, I don't want you to come in there, and I want to do it alone. Wink, wink, right?
Yeah.
Kind of maybe get to make signals, and also too, Roman has been really giving Jay advice. So don't you think Jay wanted to prove? It's like again that Big Brother, that like kind of that cartoon, the Warner Brother cartoon with the little puppy again. It follows the bulldog, or whatever, like that, and he follows him around, whatever. Jay is trying
We
to
really dated ourselves with that one. Yeah.
Jay is trying so hard to prove himself to Roman to get his acknowledgement, to get his approval, and Roman's throwing out this advice to Jay. How could Jay not want to go out there? It's
And I feel for Jimmy though, because like Jimmy's like, oh, I'm not good enough. Like I'm not.
yeah.
You're showing favoritism to Jay. Jay's always been your guy, and I'm not that. So again, it's interesting dynamics on every side. The Roman side, Jay's side, wanting to prove himself to Roman for some reason wants that validation from him, and Jimmy, who finds himself on the outside looking in terms of seeing this turmoil going on between the members of the original Bloodline.
Yeah, so there you go with that one. Again, that was it was a really good match to open it up. Very tough, physical. Roman Reigns took some spears, and he's giving back. That's what Roman Reigns is doing. All right, then we had the Women's Crown Jewel Championship trendsetter between Stephanie Vaquer, it's got me flustered already, and Tiffany Stratton. It was Tiffy time. I didn't see this, which was I guess I was just staring too much at Stephanie Vaquer that she got no pop, whatever. I don't think that was the case, but a lot of people were saying that she didn't get a pop coming in. I have to see that again. Tiffy time. Tiffy is, I think, she's nationally adopted by Australia because they love her. And it was, champion versus champion, and the winner would get that crown jewel, that spiffy championship. And this match delivered as well, and you can tell. And again, the rumors were swirling that why isn't Stephanie Vaquer on TV? We found out she was sick. She had this throat infection or something like that. She was off TV, but the rocket is strapped clearly on this woman's back, and she can. And I'm making this emphasis, especially because we saw Julia on SmackDown. This woman came in here to this company and organically did it. The fans relate to her. Doesn't matter. This is the woman who can't speak the language fluently yet, but has related to the fans. Who does that? Trendsetter? We talk about the men's side, Andrade, who just left here because he couldn't connect to the fans because he couldn't speak English properly, or he never just was able to get it. But Stephanie Vaquer comes in here through her wrestling, through her just aura, and she's able to connect with the fans and their rocket ship. She beat Tiffany Stratton, who hadn't lost. It had been 218 days or something like that, 200 plus days, and she won. And then she's there thanks Triple H, which I'm so jealous. He got this humongous long 30-second hug, which felt like a minute. And then he was able to put the championship around Stephanie Vaquer. But this woman is it, dude. And give her more props. She doesn't even speak the language fluently yet. But man, you talk about organic. That's Stephanie Vaquer in a nutshell.
Man, a lot of stuff there to talk about real quick. I'll say this real quick to talk about Stephanie Vaquer, right? I think in their scenarios, remember I told you before, Jeff, that there'll be probably a separate show or maybe years down the line we'll talk about the mess up that WWE did for John Cena's final run and how chaotic and horrible it was, right?
Yeah.
I think there'll be a moment where you and I will sit back and do a separate show, and I'm sure other people will do it as well, of the uncanny way that uncanny way that this woman has had such a tidal wave of momentum and has just ridden that on. And it, like you said, it's been organic. It has been the scenario where the fans have just immediately, from the before she even spoke a word, just automatically accepted her. You would go back and think at Forbidden Door at AEW, her losing her championship to Mercedes Moné, you're thinking, oh man, but looking how good she was in the ring, look, she lost to Mercedes. AEW, now is kind of trying to, do what they've done with the Mercedes now. And now her being signed by WWE, and to have lost that and have gained so much past that is completely unbelievable. I've never seen a scenario like that where somebody has just had so much momentum, so much connection with the audience, and her showing the fact that, yeah, she doesn't speak the language, but she speaks the language of wrestling. I
Yeah.
think a lot of people appreciate that, and they value that genuineness from Stephanie. And then you compare it to Julia, and I love Julia, but you could definitely tell they're on different levels right now. And you could try to dissect it. Why? What's going on here? What happened? Julia was supposed to be the one in Stephanie's place, and Stephanie was going to be a great addition, but not in that spot. And it happens. That's the weird world of professional wrestling. But in my opinion, Jeff, as much as I like the match, as much as again, happy for Stephanie, I feel the wrong woman won. And I don't want to put water or derail the momentum. I
Awesome.
think if she had lost this, it wouldn't have derailed it really because she didn't lose her title. I felt personally it was more important for Tiffany because when you look at it, look at all the momentum Stephanie had. Look at Naomi when she had the championship. That women's world title had surpassed and was more important than the WWE Women's Championship. So I felt by doing this, I think Tiffany, with the lack of, storylines and competition she's had on SmackDown, I thought it would have been more for her. Plus, Australia loves her. I thought it would have been a great moment for Tiffany, although she has been undefeated and they kept promoting that over and over, prior to the PLE and during the PLE. I think for some weird reason, as much as I believe in her, I think they're still trying to make her seem legit. And I think that would have been a great moment for Tiffany rather than Stephanie.
Well, again, I believe that this is Tiffany has had her push, and this is to get to get Stephanie Vaquer elevated. You were talking about how they talked about the undefeated, her being undefeated, not losing. She had an exceptional year, and then to come here and lose to Stephanie Vaquer. Yeah, true. Maybe Tiffany did need it more. Again, I will beg to differ on that one. I think Stephanie really needed to win this one just to solidify it because she had that great matchup with EO, but that was kind of before that, kind of haven't had anything. And then you see that crowd, whether or not they did kind of pop for her or not, I think at the end they kind of won her over. She won the crowd over. And going back to the Julia thing, why I bring that up because I mentioned that there should be an investigation as to why Julia has on SmackDown with Kiana James, who, listen, believe it or not, I think Kiana James has a solid future. The fact that she's in a tag team match jobbing to Tiffany and Stephanie Vaquer, it just doesn't sit well with me, especially when all the praise, everything was about Julia when she first came in here. And it's amazing how now it's like, we said the gap was like this when they were in NXT, right? But now the gap is like this, like this. So it's widened between Stephanie and Julia right now. What do you think?
100%. That's why I stated too, in terms of the comparisons and what type of level they were supposed to be at, it was kind of even, or maybe a little bit more Julia sometimes, a little bit more Stephanie. But there's no question that Stephanie has surpassed Julia. I don't know why Julia seems to be, although she is, you can't discredit the fact that she is the women's United States champion, but they haven't really used her, and they're not really using her. And so, yeah, she just has a title for the sake of having a title. But if you're a fan of Julia like I am, she should be in these types of matches too.
Yeah.
She should be competing for the Crown Jewel Championship. She should be competing with these guys, like these women like Rhea Ripley and Becky Lynch and things like that. But she's not. And I don't think right now, from, again, not drawing too much attention to it, but from a company standpoint, I don't know now if they believe that she is in that position, that same level, because of the huge momentum that Stephanie's had of not just the connection with the audience, the great matches she's had. And it's just like, they're like, okay, well, Julia will stay here and we're just going to ride this wave with Stephanie. And unfortunately, Julia's left in the background.
But I would have thought as well that Julia's wrestling would have won over the crowd. I thought that if anyone who didn't speak the language would have been able to also organically, the crowd or to organically relate to, it'd be Julia with her wrestling, and it just
Hasn't clicked.
Hasn't clicked. All right, Trendsetter. And then the match, I think that we'll discuss a lot, and I think will be in our minds for a long time because we definitely wanted to see this one once AJ Styles farewell tour was announced. AJ Styles farewell tour, that's coming up.
That's
John Cena's farewell tour was announced. We were like, we got to see AJ Styles beat up John Cena one more time. We got to see this, and the WWE will say that the fans were the ones that chose this, but this was in the works, I believe, for a while, and I think that John Cena and AJ Styles delivered again. Obviously, they've had classic matches before. They kind of went in the way of honoring their match in 2017 by keeping it in the ring, which is great. And then you saw there's some times where you watch the other gymnastics show and it's like tributes to different maneuvers, and you're like, okay, oh, okay, it's cool. And then it just gets repetitive and repetitive and repetitive because these guys don't have the resume that John Cena and AJ Styles have. So when they do it, it means something more. And when you see the tributes to like a Samoa Joe or Chris Jericho, which we'll talk about, Rusev, Christopher Daniels, The Miz, Bray Wyatt, Randy Orton, Taker, Frankie Kazarian, HBK, and Sting, you're like, wow, you got all that in there. And the match still was brilliant because it was both of them. And that's why they get the leeway. It wasn't just two guys. They're just paying tributes and homage in front of 45 people. And then again, you see the skull crushing finale, the Walls of Jericho, Sister Abigail, which again kind of made you teary eyed too. And the fans with the fireflies and John Cena looking up to the heavens, looking at Bray Wyatt. That was for you. You got the RKO and the choke slam and the tease of the 619. Maybe he'll bring that out with 4 more to go. But man, Trendsetter, this was without question, and two guys that could still go, that have decided to listen, our times are past. We want to be with our families. I got my movie career, as it turned out, with John Cena. He's got that to go. The body just doesn't, he's putting it all out there. But man, Trendsetter, this is why we love wrestling. This is why we watch. This is why we get up at 8 in the morning for matches like this. This matchup delivered. This match, to me, at the end of the day, when we look back, we'll look back and we watch it over and over with a tear in our eyes, because these were two guys that just meant a lot to this business and were leaders, and just, no pun intended, just phenomenal on all ends, man. Really, really awesome. And now John Cena has only 4 dates left in his career.
Listen, there's a reason why fans chant, "This is awesome," but there's another reason why fans chant, and it's the truest sense of being a wrestling fan: fight forever. Because you as a fan, you never want to look at these superstars to ever age. You don't look at them as human. You're like, stay young forever. You don't want to retire. We don't want you to go away. We want you to keep doing what you're doing because it entertains us. The selfish part of being a wrestling fan. Not that it's a bad thing, but it's just the innate part that we never wanted to stop and end. To your point too, like, listen, let's be honest. These are, the one's advertised and one isn't. These are retirement tours for both AJ Styles and John Cena, in my opinion. AJ has made it known that he's going to retire soon. It's going to be in 2026. We don't know how early in 2026 it's going to happen, but we know
Mania. He kind of want to wrap it up by Mania, so it's not going to be too long.
Not going to be too long, right? But again, you never know. It could extend a little bit further than that, whatever. But let's say that Mania is the final WrestleMania for him, or his final match, right? We know it's coming to an end. So it's great to see these two in there who have one of the most unique ways of, I can't even describe it. It's just, you could just tell when people have chemistry, and from the different styles and how different they are as just wrestlers and just human beings, it just clicks and it just works. I'm sure they could do a blindfold and it would be amazing. And they never missed a step. How long had it been since they wrestled? And it looks like they never missed a step. They never stopped in what they were doing. So it's just an homage to them, the professionalism. Sometimes when you see those spots and those things where, like, they're using finishers, like you just mentioned, the Sister Abigail, the skull crushing finale, the Walls of Jericho, the tombstone that we saw that went into the A to finish the match. Sometimes those things can kind of take away because you're like, oh, that's cheesy. But I think it worked in a sense for these two guys. And, I just think it's, as much as I'm happy for John Cena and it was a great match, and I take nothing away, and to see AJ in the old gear, how amazing was that, right? That's
awesome. Reference,
so freaking awesome. And I'm jealous the fact that he still looks that good in that old gear. You would think, oh man, it's just not going to, he looked like he never aged a second there. And part of me feels a little sad because as much as John Cena is getting this acknowledgement and he's getting this cheers as AJ leaves the ring for him to get his applause, I just feel kind of sad and down that they're not doing that for a guy like AJ Styles. John kind of gave it to him when he raised his hand. It was kind of John acknowledging, listen, appreciate AJ, which I really respect for John for doing. And then AJ reciprocated and then left the ring to give John his moment. But I'm like, guys, we know what you're doing. We know how you messed up John Cena in his final run. Stop doing the same thing to AJ Styles. You have him, you know he can go, and yet you're not using him. You're not putting him in storylines that are long-term or storylines that are going to go anywhere. You're just kind of making him, and I hate to say this, a gatekeeper And that's not AJ Styles. I'm not saying make him world champion, make him WWE champion, but make him part of the program consistently because you have a gem in that guy who can still go. We know John, he has mentioned his body can't go. And AJ says to a lot of people that he wants people to remember him as what he was, what he is now, as opposed to him kind of losing a step, which he feels like he'll eventually get there, but he doesn't feel like he's lost it. Then use that. You
Yeah.
have a golden ticket right here. Use it to your advantage because it's only going to bring you more money. And they refuse to use AJ Styles. And I think he's just withering away and just counting the days on the calendar before it's all over. And we're all going to miss him when that happens.
He deserves more than to be getting outsmarted by a Grande Americano. You know, he deserves a little bit better. Hopefully, he does get that. Hopefully, he does get a send off at a WrestleMania in a high caliber, a high stakes match. And just the fact too that people are saying, and again, people for some reason want to talk about, hey, AJ Styles retired in 2016. Get out of here. When I think of AJ Styles now, yes, a TNA guy, but he's a WB guy.
Yeah.
He's the guy that's gonna be a W Hall of Famer instantly. And again, I just hope that they do give him a great farewell tour. And I like that Bullet Club thing too, because let's be honest, I'll just say this real quick on the Bullet Club. He legitimized Bullet Club. Once he became the leader, he legitimized it. Finn founded it and made it what it was. And then AJ was the one that legitimized it because he came over, crossed over. And then Kenny was the one that expanded it and branched it out and made it the money, the well-known stuff and all that, and did that.
Yeah.
And then Cody kind of said,
sorry, go.
And then Cody used the Bullet Club to set up a rivalry with Kenny, and it was great. But AJ Styles, in my opinion, legitimized the Bullet Club.
Yeah, you're right. Finn, AJ, Kenny, Cody, and then Jay White killed it. So I have no reservation saying that.
And then David Finlay
created it. Jay White, you killed it.
And then David Finlay urinated on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So again, to see that I could have seen them fight forever. That was great. To be the third match as well, too, man. That was
quick, Jeff. Just watching the replays online because I'm watching social media. So I'm talking to see if there's anything that posts.
Oh yeah, please. If anything's breaking, please.
No, I'll definitely will. But just seeing, like, as you're talking, I'm paying attention, but I'm also looking at clips and I'm seeing.
I'm posting that we're live now, so like I'm trying to
the replays of AJ and John, and I can't tell you how emotional I get a little bit watching that, man. Because like you just said, you want to fight forever, and like to see the fact that, listen, despite what I've ever said about John Cena personally, it's been the character of John Cena, how WWE has presented him. But I've never, ever once felt or disrespected John Cena, the man. And to see him at this stage of his career and to see what he does and how much appreciation, I've never doubted his appreciation for the industry and the business and the respect he has for the fans of this business. It's emotional to watch, man. It really is. And not that it makes me feel old. It makes me feel as if, oh man, my favorites are leaving. And now I got to find new favorites. And that's hard. It's hard to find new favorites nowadays.
While you're skimming through it, there are also the fans. I guess Triple H did go and do the media outside. I thought
he did. He did.
So they're singing to Adam Copeland's song Metalingus, and he's singing with. So don't think that Triple. It's funny, right? Check this out. So he'll acknowledge Metalingus and Adam Copeland, but he won't acknowledge Karrion Kross. He'll think we want Brock. Oh God. I wonder if Karrion Kross could if he could do over and do it all over again, not do it the way he did it. And be like Santos Escobar and not go on podcasts and not burn bridges. But we'll see. But yeah.
I love Karrion. I think he's worked enough where he can say what he wants because let's be honest, Jeff, he wouldn't be saying what he wants. We can talk about this in
I just
as much as you have those feelings towards Karrion Kross in terms of what he's doing, he's earned the right to do that for what the WWE has been giving him. And ultimately, I don't think he would say that if he didn't think he was not going to come back. So if you think you're never going to come back, why not say what you want to say? So.
Yeah, but misogynistic. I don't know if that helps. All right, Trendsetter. So then we get another homecoming for and I want to wish happy birthday to Rhea Ripley. Happy birthday. Happy 29th birthday. I didn't want to say how old, but a woman never discloses that, but everyone else did. So I'm going to wish her happy birthday to mommy, to Rhea Ripley. A lot of love from HSP, so congratulations. She got to spend it in her hometown with her family in there. against Io Sky, Kairi Sane, and Asuka. Listen, the right team won here. Kairi Sane takes the pin, obviously, because Asuka is going to be built into be something more down the road. I don't think this feud ends quite yet. But listen, it was great. Rhea got in there. Io Sky and Asuka, that dynamic too. Got to see them mix it up. Kairi Sane, and again in there as well too. A lot of references to Io as being the best wrestler or female wrestler right now. And same thing, Rhea Ripley is in the top spot. I want to mention too, before we get into this match, we at HSP decided to do something fun that every week, every Thursday, we're going to do power rankings on HSP Instagram and on our Twitter on X. So make sure you follow us at High Spot Podcast and make sure you check out our power rankings, because I had Rhea is in there in the top 5. Asuka made it there, and Stephanie Vaquer and and Io Sky are in there. So they're in the top 5. So we have that for the men's and women. So make sure you check that out weekly on HSP. Every Thursday, we'll have out the power rankings. Definitely there will be a lot of some kind of change in the top spot with what happened today at Crown Jewel. But again, I think this match, the home crowd got to, see Rhea Ripley, and then Io Sky gets the pin. She beats Kairi Sane, which you were telling me. Well, I'm not gonna speak for you, but again, Kairi Sane takes the pin, and it was good. It was, again, all the matches were good, entertaining, and the right team won. But I'll let Trendsetter elaborate here because he made such a great point. I don't want to steal your thunder.
No problem at all. You're so used to doing it anyway. So
see,
there you go. I woke up. I finally woke up. Thank you.
Did
be careful what you wish for? To quote Arn Anderson, Jeff, because now you got it. But no, what I mentioned was, listen, great homecoming for both Bronson Reed and Rhea Ripley. Who couldn't love Mommy? The crowd just loved her in terms of what she's accomplished. And I still think Rhea Ripley, people might think I hate Rhea Ripley. I don't, but she hasn't even reached that ceiling yet of what she accomplished in this women's division or just in the company in general. I thought she should have gotten the pin. I thought she should have beaten Kairi Sane and not Io Sky so the crowd could pop even more. It's her song that should be playing in the background. But again, that's me nitpicking. That's me kind of, at the end of the day, the team that I thought was going to win won because of just the way the story was. Asuka didn't get pinned, so that still leaves Io and Asuka in terms of a match down the road with them, or Asuka again with Rhea Ripley. So unfortunately, Kairi has to be the sacrificial lamb there. But yeah, the only difference I would have made in that match is that Rhea should have gotten the win. Crowd would have popped them more, but again, that's just nitpicking. Good match. Like I said, all these matches were really good. I can't say there was a dud in anything. Maybe some of the execution or outcomes. Yeah, everyone can nitpick on stuff, just like that one. I just nitpicked on that one. But again, at the end of the day, the victory happened the way it was. And the interesting thing, too, is that the post-show, Rhea was talking to the panel, and she was mentioning how, and again, I give credit to WWE, and more importantly, I'll give credit where credit's due. I'll give it to Rhea Ripley as well. The crowd's behind her, chanting her, and she says she's evolved as a human. So, in a sense, what she was saying there was that her character has evolved as well. So, as much as I kind of nitpick, thinking, "Oh my God, we have Rhea Ripley, the character, the mommy who didn't care about anybody, wanted to destroy everyone that got in her way, had no heart, had no soul," has evolved into a different person and different woman. So, in respect,
at least she kind of answered why, yeah.
Yes, and that's what I wanted for the longest time, for her to address that. And thank you, Rhea. Thank you, WWE, for finally addressing that, because that's what was irking me. Not that what she was doing or in the terms of the story, but do not make me as a wrestling fan, I'm sure a lot of people have opinions on that, right? Feel like an idiot. Please address the reality of the story, the reality of the character. And I think Rhea did a great job of doing it. So now I'm happy. Now I can live with this, saying, you know what? Rhea addressed it. She's evolved as a human being, as a person. And let's be honest, we all hope we evolve that way too, in the sense that we're not the same person we were 10 years ago. And it's just, again, shown the transformation of what Rhea has become and is becoming now too, because I'm sure there are a lot of people right now are thinking, all right, cool, let's get over with the storyline. We want to see a Rhea Ripley back in the main event picture. We want her to go for a title. Is it on Raw? Is it on SmackDown? I don't know, because listen, Jeff, I don't know about you, but as much as I like her in that World Championship thing and the scenario with her and Stephanie Vaquer, I would love to see her in a match with Tiffany Stratton for the WWE Women's Championship, something she hasn't won. So
maybe if there's a draft or they decide to bring that back. But right now, Chancellor, I will say this. Mm-hmm. I think that the lengthy title runs need to kind of stop for a little bit. I think that you need to. I think you need some titles changing hands, and I'm thinking about it too because you mentioned AJ Styles. I think back to when we were watching SummerSlam and he took on Dominic, and I was like, "This is a perfect time for AJ Styles to get an IC title. Doesn't have to have it for 6 months. Just hold it till the next pay-per-view where Dominic wins it back, and I think it will solidify Dominic as a champion. You don't need to have these lengthy championships anymore. I think as much as I love, well, let me stop myself. As much as I respect CM Punk now, I think one of the worst things that started happening in the company was the days of how long we've been champion. And I
Yeah.
think, for example, like AJ Styles with the run, I think if the titles jump from place to place, um, person to person, I don't think it would be the bad thing for a while because all these women need to be solidified as a top contender, and I think that's how you can make someone also as well too. If you're having problems with storylines or something like that, a surprise here and there, a surprise title change, and if they get it back in a week or so, or for the next PLE or next Raw or SmackDown, so be it. But I think that we need to have a little bit more of these. I think we need to kind of slowly die down, at least for a little bit, these lengthy title reigns, because at the end of the day, it just some of it just sometimes you need to build stars, whatever like that. And I think I thought about it because you were talking about Rhea challenging for a title. I don't think she needs the title right now. You know, I don't think she needs that title right now. She is so over right now that I don't think
No,
she.
like I said, I'm sure a lot of people, a lot of fans want to see
Yeah.
her in that title picture. I didn't see it myself personally.
No, 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 no.
I said,
Exactly.
yeah,
Yeah.
but I said if she was going to,
Yeah.
I think it would be more interesting if she were doing it over on SmackDown, just because it's a new array of people to work with, a new range of people to work with, and a scenario if she's gonna go after the champ. I think a match with her and Tiffany Stratton would be amazing, and maybe that would kind of help elevate the fact that it's something new, it's something different we haven't seen before. Because to see Io and Rhea again, for example, if Io won the title, or see even a Stephanie and Rhea, would be great. But we've kind of seen this story before, and so that's the only reason why I would say that too. But to your point, yeah, listen, I was a fan of the long term storytelling and long title reigns because that's what you and I grew up watching, Jeff. And to see the title flip flop back and forth as many times as it did during the Vince McMahon era, it's kind of frustrating, kind of got annoying. And now it's reaching that point too. So there needs to be some balance. But I've told you before this too, right? It's like a catch-22, unfortunately. So you're gonna have, like, for example, let's use Dominic real quick. Him having a lengthy title run and sacrificing the fact that, hey, if AJ wins it doesn't really hurt Dominic, and actually helps him more by if he beats him again for the title and he reclaims it, it helps him out more. So guys, use these individuals. To use a guy like AJ Styles, like I said, I don't necessarily need to have to put a title on him, but put him in stories that matter. And I know losses have always been depicted as, it's not a big deal, but it's perception as well.
Yeah.
If he's that important to you, then use these individuals in an important way to help legitimize what it is you're doing. Just having a lengthy title run doesn't necessarily legitimize you. And again, I'm not using this to pick on Dominic, but at the same time, if he were to lose it, it doesn't hurt him because the way in which he reclaims it again is just as important too. So yeah, no, I'm kind of agreeing, but unfortunately, it's a catch-22 in that scenario.
Now,
Real quick, we have Ghostface who wanted to make a comment here. So at the moment, Cena almost started crying while looking up to Bray. Almost got me. The best match in the entire retirement tour. 100% agree with you, Ghostface. That was his best. Retirement tour. It's one of his best matches. I'll say it's one of the best ones so far.
I think Cody and John at SummerSlam. Okay, Ghostface.
From a match standpoint, though,
do you think it's better than Cena? Because that to me passed the torch. So I thought that was a little. I thought they redeemed themselves from Mania. But hey, if you like this one, I'm not gonna argue with you, man. It was awesome, and I'm glad for you to join the chat here. Appreciate you guys for here on the live.
Hugh Cottonmouth King said AJ retirement match, Bullet Club leader versus leader final match. You know how cool would it be? We've seen Finn and AJ. That's awesome. But I would have loved if somehow Kenny could have gone over this whole idea of to have all three leaders of the Bullet Club there. You had Finn, AJ, and Kenny. And maybe if Cody wants to work his way in, can you imagine all four of those guys in a match together?
You only need one, right? You only need one person to do that. We'll see, man.
Kenny, get off your high horse. Stop playing your video games, man. Just for one night. We're talking about Forbidden Door. Cross over for one night. Tony, it's good business for you, too. just stop attacking WWE and maybe you guys can work together.
Wow. Oh,
I'm
now
joking. I'm joking. I'm joking.
yeah,
No,
I
can
know
you
you're
imagine though if there's a great
yeah.
relationship between Tony Khan and the WWE and AEW and WWE that could be a fantasy match that you would have all the leaders of the Bullet Club in a match together, doing something together. That'd be great TV.
That would definitely would be great, man. But again, hopefully though, again, AJ Styles gets his due. But yes, man, AJ Styles and John Cena. He had a Kleenex for all. You go through a Kleenex box for the whole freaking match. It was that awesome, man. And John Cena pointing at the four more. That's it.
Not 4 horsemen.
No,
4 more matches.
4. New York, Boston, San Diego for Survivor Series, and then December the 13th for Saturday night's main event, Trendsetter, which could be huge if you want to take it that way. It could be huge. So we'll see. Well, there's rumors going around crazy, but we'll get to that on our other show. But guys, again, thank you for joining us here on live. Want to hear from you guys. If you can get here on the live, subscribe, download, make sure you follow us on all our social media platforms, on podcast platforms. If you can't watch us here, then listen to us on all podcast platforms. Really appreciate you guys. Going to wind it up soon. We're going to finish off with Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes for the men's Crown Jewel Championship. Seth Rollins, a lot was on the line. We talked about this beforehand while we were watching this match here, and you're telling me, Cody, Seth, you were more leaning towards the Cody side. I was trying to explain to you about the Seth angle and why. Then a lot of rumors, of course, started going rampant on Friday that there could be another member of the Vision because they're talking already about Survivor Series and stuff like that. So, again, that all boils down to, though, this match. And then, again, this is where we build ourselves up and we hype ourselves up and we think something's going to happen and it doesn't happen. But we get a great match. Probably one of the better matches that we've seen between Cody and Seth delivers here. Seth did a tremendous job, and so did Cody Rhodes. And, again, I relate to Cody, Trendsetter. You know why? Because every time I see Cody, stuff matters more to Cody. He's still that, and this is why he's a good babyface, because he still believes in the good in people. He believes that, he considered Seth Rollins a friend, and he took all the resume of Seth Rollins' friendship from WrestleMania 40, and Cody, it was his Achilles heel. He sees the good in people, and then with and again, it's perfect on the heel face to use the Rolex, to not wear it till this rivalry, because it was done so good when I look back on it. Cody gets, again, he walks away the champion, but again, kind of like not betrayed, but when you disillusioned now that all these friendships now are turning on him because he's a champion, and as it should. But Cody's still naive, and there's still one more Trendsetter. There's still one more friendship that needs to be that needs to just end soon, and that's with Randy Orton. Hopefully, in my lifetime, we get that. So, but again, though, this match, though,
Trendsetter, lifetime, hopefully in Randy's lifetime.
So good, Trendsetter, as far as the outcome. Nothing really happened, which is fine. You got the match, solid match, a coast-to-coast headbutt by Seth Rollins. What was that? Just all in all, good match for both guys. Cody's still QB1, but not like last year. Different result. He does not walk away with the men's Crown Jewel Championship. Seth freaking Rollins does, and he walks away too now. With the respect of the Vision and Paul Heyman, so he doesn't have to worry about that. And I think from what the fans were saying at the post-show, Trendsetter, it still seems like CM Punk is going to be a main factor. You got Gunther that's coming back down the road too. You've got War Games down the road. The Vision is still far and center in this picture for Raw.
Well, yeah, they're a huge focal point, which is what they've tried to establish for the longest time. Listen, congratulations to Seth Rollins. Ultimately, I can very calmly say, I guess the right person did win. I was leaning more towards Cody because the way I dissected it with Jeff was very simple. We knew what was on the line for Seth. They made that perfectly known through, the build up to this match, right? Of terms of, him not being able to defeat Cody. He will lose the respect of the Vision if he lost this match. Just all the doubts and the self-doubts, like I need to beat him became an obsessive thing, right? And also to Cody's point where, yeah, you're right. He is considered now, probably as much as he's lovable and you appreciate him for his good heart, naive. Why do you continually look at the good in people when there is no good, and they're continually, turning their back on you, and once you're on top, there are no friends anymore in this business. And we're alluding to Randy Orton and Cody down the road, if that's going to eventually happen. You think it would, but we don't know. But also, weren't people saying the same thing about a guy like John Cena? Where John Cena, no matter what, always seemed to always be on the side of good and right. We were like, oh, come on. It's so obnoxious. It's so dumb. Let's be more realistic. In a sense, the only reason why I think it works for Cody to this point is because, similar to John, and this is where I'll make the comparison. When John would talk, it was very genuine what he was saying. So as much as you hated his viewpoint on things, you knew he was coming straight from how he felt and believed. And so as much as you disagree with it, you can go against it. Same thing with Cody. He likes to see the good individuals. He wants to feel as if, listen, everything should be out front and center, and it should be fair, shake your hands, and let's have a great match type of thing, and not be as personal as it is. But listen, the reason why this whole Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes worked so well, Jeff, is because it was personal. Cody coming back at WrestleMania, and then Cody tearing the pack, and then Seth taking shots at Cody's spot, wearing the polka dots at Hell in a Cell, and then leading to this scenario where we saw him be his shield, help him win the title, help him defeat the Bloodline at WrestleMania 40. To this point, that's pretty great storytelling, in my opinion. And the scenario of this, I don't think it's the last time we've seen it, because again, they have, similar to John and AJ, I think Seth and Cody, I'm not going to say this is one of their greatest matches ever, but it was a really good match. People liked it. They have great chemistry as well, and also great ability of telling stories. So as much as I thought this was to reemphasize the importance of QB1, of what Triple H felt Cody was in this dominant force, more was on the line for Seth. So I understand the direction they went to. So the right person won. So you have Stephanie Vaquer as the women's Crown Jewel champion, and Seth Rollins too. Dude,
If you really want to bitch about who's Triple H's favorite, Triple H loves Seth Rollins. Yeah. So if there's anybody that,
I don't know, Cody, Seth, it's kind of up there between the two.
Oh, dude,
because Seth's been given a hardball too. He's been unfortunately lived in the era of Roman Reigns, where he's really felt like he's never really been given that shot. Even when John Moxley / Dean Ambrose was there, they were giving him more opportunities, and Seth would probably be like, hey, what's going on here, man? I was supposed to be the chosen one from the Shield. And y'all lean towards Roman.
Oh, God, y'all like Roman Reigns. I like that Trendsetter. Yeah, y'all,
all of Roman Reigns, I don't want to see Roman until Christmas either. But I'm sure a lot of fans don't agree with that. But yeah, but no, Christmas will be right here before you know it. But no, I could see Seth's frustration, where he's never felt he is the guy. Even now with Cody coming back, that resentment there too. So it's great storytelling. So congratulations to Seth. Great way to end the night.
Yeah, you get Seth and Stephanie Vaquer. I'm pretty sure they're in the middle of the ring with the championships for that photo opportunity, and I'm pretty sure Seth
was like, hey, I'm coming for you.
That little laugh, I'm pretty sure in this. I think Stephanie Vaquer kind of acknowledged that too as well. So listen, it was good that we didn't get any interference. We got it clean, and clean as far as no outside interference. Seth Rollins uses the Rolex, which is a great way to end it, and it was just well done. I enjoyed the matches. Obviously, my match of the night is going to be John Cena and AJ Styles. I think everyone else delivered, though. Trendsetters put a ribbon on this post show. I think everyone delivered. I think the matches were clean, crisp, good. And then obviously Seth was an important win for him. He wins. Stephanie Vaquer won. I think the right people won tonight. And now it is onward to Survivor Series. And then obviously then we got Wrestle Dream coming up next week for AEW. So it just keeps getting busy and busy, but you're home for pro wrestling, and all entertainment is here on the Give Us a Shot Network, the HSP podcast. Make sure you download and subscribe, and make sure, again, you follow us on all our social media platforms, High Spot Podcast, and our backup at the HSP Media. Big things. And again, before we leave, I want to thank.
Let's not forget to mention Bound for Glory too. That's
Bound for Glory as well too. Got again, a lot of stuff to cover, dude. It's crazy. But want to thank BKFC Bare Knuckle Fighting for a tremendous time last week at BKFC 82 at the Prudential Center at the Rock. Conor McGregor, Mike Perry. It was just an awesome night, and we want to continue that partnership with BKFC. So looking forward to that down the road. And I want to thank Bucked Up Energy Drinks. We'll announce that on the show. I just want to thank Bucked Up. We become brand ambassadors for that, so you'll find out more on our Instagram, on our X and also too on the next show we'll talk about that. We'll actually open up with that in BKFC. But Trendsetter, awesome night. I want to thank you guys here at the HSP Universe, the crew, for joining us here on this live. And again, we'll do it again very soon. But Trendsetter, close this one out as only you can.
Well, guys, that's it. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. We've definitely appreciate you guys interacting with us, whether it be during this live stream or on social media, or your comments on our videos that we post out there. Great thanks to Give Us a Shot Network as well for helping us set this whole thing up on their YouTube channel. We greatly appreciate them as well as we appreciate you guys, the members of the crew who've been with us since day one. So that's it, guys. This is the High Spot Podcast Crown Jewel reaction. What an event it was. And I'll just leave you at this, right? The bar was set so low for the failure of what WrestlePalooza was that there's no question that anything other than that, if only one match was good, it was going to be a successful PLE. But hopefully WWE builds up on this. It was a great event. It lived up to the hype, and now it's only going upward, hopefully, for WWE for the future PLEs that will be on the ESPN app. Had no issues with buffering this time, so I was happy about that, guys. So thank you so much for joining us, interacting with us. We love you guys so much. So for my tag team partner, Jeff Martin, I am the Trendsetter Bryan Burgo. We are the Jersey Wrecking Crew. Thank you so much for joining us here. Catch us on the High Spot Podcast coming up next week. That's it, guys. Remember, we do this for one reason and one reason only. We do this for you,
the crew.